All right. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Eric. My call sign's N1JUR, and I'd like to welcome everybody to chat and these guys here. Thank you for being part of Northeast Ham Radio. We're probably, something new out there, but you're probably sitting there asking, well, what's Northeast Ham Radio? We're just a bunch of guys, YouTube content creators, podcasters, who all live in the Northeast. We love ham radio. So we wanted to get together and hang out and, kind of promote everything about ham radio. So we're trying to bring, this hobby to the forefront and showcase things like, our local ham fest, some of our, regional areas, or anything that's kind of going in and around on our channels, in the Northeast. We feel it's a very underrepresented area. So, we figured, after reaching out and talking, that this is something, we're going to try to see and run with. And so, if you want to learn a little bit more about it, we got a simple page up there, especially, maybe you're a content creator yourself in the Northeast and you're looking for a great place to hang out. We're just going to get together. We're going to chat about radio. We might talk about something, ham radio adjacent, but most of the time, we're just here to just, kind of become great friends. And, we're going to be doing a lot of cool things down the road. So, definitely stay tuned for that. But so enough of me babbling. Let's kind of get into it and say hello to everybody else on the chat or on the live stream here. So, Mike, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Mike, N2MAK. I am in Rochester, New York, Western New York. That's the big part of New York that's outside of the city. It's kind of like, that's the thing. Like you tell people you're from New York, and the first thing is like New York City. It's no.
or worse, from Jersey, right?
The cold.
All right, easy does it.
Yeah, but no, yeah. And I've had a channel for just about a year. It's my name and call sign Mike N2MAK. I do a lot of portable stuff. To this day, I do not have a station set up at home. So everything I do 99% of the time is portable at a park, on a peak, or maybe the back deck, weather permitting, which isn't that
often. Yeah, very cool. All right, cool. Well, hey, over to Matt. Go ahead, N3VN.
Hey everyone, Matt N3VAN. Love portable ops just like Mike. Had a YouTube channel for about a year. It's been going good. I like taking apart radios, fixing them, finding problems, and solving them. So I hail from a tech background and thought, hey, love amateur radio, love doing portable ops, winter field day, parks on the air, and figured might as well show people, teach people how to take apart radios, fix them, as well as enjoy getting out there and actually using that radio instead of just keeping it in a box stuck in your closet somewhere.
Yeah, very cool. Well, and you got to be our resident antenna pusher for this crew here too, as well. I have to say, three or four of us have already got a bunch of them. We love the Reliance antennas there, especially when other antennas are unobtainium or almost kind of too hard to get, but not to say that you're not going to have that as a problem eventually if we keep spreading the word. So I don't know what you want to do with that one, but very cool. All right. Well, hey, if we're good with that one, so over to Paul there. Go ahead. KF4TPY. Give me a hello.
Hey. So it's Paul, KF4TPY. I live in Merrimack, New Hampshire. My YouTube channel is brand new. I'm just getting started and all this YouTube stuff. But I'm up to 19 subscribers, so we're building a base, and I'm learning how to edit videos and create something that somebody's going to want to watch.
Very cool. Well, we will make sure we got all of our YouTube links down below. So if you haven't had a chance to subscribe to these guys, definitely go over and show them some love for sure. And if you can get a chance to throw those in the chat, definitely throw those in the chat too as well. So we can spread the word. But with that, good deal. So Todd, go ahead and pick it up there.
Hi, my name is Todd, W1STJ. I'm from Amherst, New Hampshire. I co-host Live Free and Ham. I'm starting a YouTube channel. I just worked on my, I guess you'd call it a logo. So I just got that done this morning. So got to get a camera, but I'm going to start doing that. I'm really into POTA. It's my favorite thing to do in ham radio. I try to do a lot of it when I can. I sometimes I have to travel for work. So I've been in some weird non-Northeast states such as Louisiana, Mississippi. You know, it's not like New England. It's completely different down there, but it's been awesome. I've activated a bunch of parks, and then been down to Florida and made my way into a couple parks down there. So my goal is, before I die, is to hit all 50 states, at least activate all 50 states. And I'm fairly new. I got my general in 2021, and I'm studying for my my extra. It's going slow, but I'll get there eventually. But that's it. I really got into the hobby, and I just love it. You know, I've known Eric and Paul for a few years now. We've all become pretty good friends, and we try to get out and do the hobby as much as possible.
All right, cool. All right, well, good on that one. And you know, over to you, Rob. Welcome, and pick it on up.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm Rob N1NUG. I've got a YouTube channel called 741. Been doing that for a number of years now, over 10, I think.
Wow.
And I don't primarily focus on ham radio. I do a lot of ham radio on the channel, but I do other things too. The channel was mostly just kind of started for a buddy of mine to show him how I was fixing things. And it just kind of grew from there. But being, you know, an avid ham radio guy, I do, you know, quite a bit of ham radio content, and been doing a little bit more of it, you know, kind of as time goes on. And I kind of dabble in everything. I do everything from POTA. I like to fix radios. I collect some old ones here. Just whatever time allows. Not much of a live streamer, so I appreciate you guys letting me in here to kind of fumble along and join in the crowd. But
no problem.
But yeah, thanks for having me and putting this together. I'm a big fan of the podcast. I've been listening to that, you know, on my way back and forth to work. So that's a great listen. So
hey, Todd, we have one listener. Now we know who it is.
Yeah.
We have one listener. Now we know who it is.
Yeah. Well, if anybody's out there, you need something to listen to, check out their podcast. It's pretty good.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. K4SWSL is with the cure for insomnia. We'll steal his line there. So, oh, good. But yeah. Appreciate
I haven't fallen asleep on the road yet. So
I know. True. Well, we must be a stimulant then. So excellent.
Yeah. We're not liable for any road accidents based on listening to our podcast.
There you go.
Not to steal from Ham Radio Clubhouse, but yeah. Cool. All right. Well, to wrap things up here, I'm Eric. As I said, call sign N1JUR. My channel is N1JUR Amateur Radio. I've been doing it. And actually, I just got a notice from YouTube saying it was my first official year as having a channel. So I'm enjoying it and having fun. And just like all the other guys, I am heavily into POTA. I kind of started that road because I live in a dreaded HOA. And so antennas are evil, and you know, they refuse to even accept anything of the sort outside of my home. So I kind of dove headfirst into POTA and been loving it every time. And, you know, it is a great thing here in New England. We are very blessed in general for having a plethora of parks and all of that other stuff. So I have no problem being able to just leave my house and within 20 minutes be able to get to a park or an area. So with that, also, we didn't mention, you know, we have the Live Free and Ham podcast that Rob did talk about. That's with Paul, Todd, myself, and Ryan, who actually is flying again tonight. So, you know, hopefully he's watching. But yeah, outside of that, we just kind of talk, you know, ham radio and hopefully pretend to talk about what we know, what we may or may not know. I mean, it's just it's a bunch of guys getting together, having fun.
Yeah, just an update. Ryan,
to the internet, my friend. How can I help you?
just an update. Ryan just texted, and he just landed in Honolulu on his way to Australia and New Zealand. So he's halfway there.
Oh, wow.
I know, right? Exactly. The tough life. And he's on that for quite a while too. So, you know, we tried to convince him to bring radio gear, but I don't know. Maybe he'll buy stuff when he's out there. We'll see how that one goes. Well, very cool. Well, so like I said, we're just doing kind of a happy hour tonight. So we're, you know, kind of have a loose conversation. So, you know, if you're in the chat, you want to throw something our way or whatever, feel free. But we're going to just kind of talk about what we've been maybe working on. You know, either ham radio or ham radio adjacent, and you know, just kind of go back and forth. Obviously the big thing that's kind of come down off of last weekend was you know, Hamcation. So I know none of us went. as far as I can tell. I didn't get a ticket, and nor did I, get a chance to experience the warm weather down there. Although I didn't hear it was super warm, so you never know. And the deluge of hamcation videos and everything from everybody everywhere. I'm sure everybody got a chance to spend hours watching all that stuff. So all good around. But so with that, obviously, anybody want to kind of throw out in the ring what they've been working on, and we'll just tear it all apart and build it back up again.
I have a quick question. I haven't watched anything on Hamcation. I've just been kind of too busy. Did Yaesu come out with the 705 killer, or am I still waiting another year?
That's usually Dayton, right? I think
What?
usually Dayton is where they usually air that stuff, right?
So they couldn't surprise us with something a little early.
Yeah, right. The only thing that I saw that I think was popular was the Maestro or Maestro, however you want to pronounce it. Depending on where you put the accent, is a big thing. But not a whole lot. Like I didn't think a whole lot kind of came out of there. Anybody kind of get that feeling?
I haven't watched any of it myself.
I don't think there was a lot, and I remember watching. I was watching earlier this morning when I was, of all things, doing dishes. I saw Frank Tank Radio. He had a quick interview with Ray from ICOM, and it looks like they're doing the same thing, kind of with that what happened with Yaesu and the HTs during COVID, where there was some of the chip shortages. Like the 718 is going to be back out. It's just going to have probably a couple new internals or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong. Like I said, I was doing the dishes, but
wow,
when it was on. But
how did I miss that?
I don't think that, other than some of the stuff coming from China, unfortunately, there hasn't been like a lot of new things. Like we got Kenwood, which everyone's been asking about for years, for Kenwood to do something new, and they hinted at maybe doing a mobile very soon. But from the big manufacturers, I don't know that there's been like a whole lot. Other than some niche things. Kenwood being niche just because of probably the price point, and then the ICOM's 905.
Did you see some of like most of the Kenwood? Like if you looked at like the ICOM booth and the Yaesu booth and stuff like that, and even Flex, they had like a pretty good spread. But when you went to Kenwood, like at least from the videos I saw from K Murder and all the others, like it was like a radio and maybe one, what's the big flagship HF rig that they have, or the 9?
Yep,
I can't remember what
I saw that. Yeah.
Had just two items. I'm like, wow. Is it like, did they have a fire sale and like, hold everything on the counters or something?
I don't know. I want to see, especially as like a newer ham. I've only been licensed like 3 years. Like I want to see competition. I want to see options. And there we have that with antennas. Whether you're talking about, especially now, like the coil antennas. You have so many choices for those, and the same thing whether it's NFET half waves or anything. There's a lot of options, but the radios, and we're seeing, I hate to say it like this, but seeing more innovation right now with coax than we're getting more new products when it comes to coax than we are when it comes to the radio sometimes, and it's awesome what ABR and Messi and Poloni are doing. But it's like that's where we're seeing the innovation right there, is the coax.
I know.
And stuff. So
ABR, I thought, had some ingenious, like what they called the little pigtails, where they they made the connectors modular, so you didn't have to like get a pigtail with like a 259 and a BNC on one. They just made it small enough where you could, they gave you a kit basically of all the connector types, and you just screw it on. And I thought that was like phenomenal, because I'm like, pigtails, those are perfect, for like the shack style, or just even being out in the field to be able to have that conversion. I can't tell you how many times I've ordered and Messi and Poloni cable for my my hex beam and realized that it was BNC female, not BNC male, and it's like I had to like cut the connector off that they put on at the factory. So it was like, it's kind of that cyclical loop that you just deal with, connectors over and over and over again. So yeah, it's good on that. Anybody else see anything related that they thought? I know someone mentioned the chat alpha antennas. Any guys chance to see any of some of their wares that they brought?
I didn't see anything, but I'm hoping that somebody is going to come out with a VHF radio, VHF UHF with 6 meters in it again. I know we can get the TYT. I know we can get the Watson, but I want a Yaesu, an ICOM, or a Kenwood to come back with that.
Or 220. Why can't we do a 220 radio
That
again?
too.
No.
Yeah,
That too.
exactly. Yep.
That
Like,
too.
we have
we've
this
got a
band
pretty
space.
active 6-meter scene here in southern New England, and I don't know, maybe not in the rest of the country, but around here we could use those radios.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, there used to be a big, like when I had my license back in 91 early, like the big penetration of 220 was like, there was like 4 or 5 repeaters within a shot. And of course I still couldn't afford 220 gear because it was still too expensive. But yeah, no, there's nothing. Well, no, I should say there's nothing. There is a 220. I don't know who makes it. Is it, how much? Is it TYT or somebody? I can't remember what the Chinese manufacturers make it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Woxon.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, that I would agree, Rob. I think that's a total, like, 6 meter, 2 meter, 440, 70 centimeter, not the gigahertz. Like the 905 is great, but like if they did a better all mode, VHF, UHF, high band radio instead of the going into the gigahertz spectrum like ICOM, sort of did.
Yeah, something I can put in my car and hit the repeaters with.
Yeah. Or we even have full sideband, because I that would be awesome to be able to have mobile and be able to do 220, sideband and 2 meter 440.
So is that okay? So I see that on the chat, the RF7 7850. Is that a mobile radio or an HT? What is that?
Well, so the unfortunate thing about Harris radios is they are not affordable for the normal person.
Well, right, I know.
Military.
Circuit boards for them.
And that's made
they're
right
fantastic
here,
radios. They're
Right
just
here in
not
Rochester.
affordable.
Yeah.
Even the gray market.
Oh yeah, no, they're just not affordable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
what would be affordable? What could be I'd love to see from ICOM, just since they have the 705 and then they got the 905 too. But if they and they don't have to incorporate it in all the rigs, because I get that not all the countries are going to have privileges on 220, but like a simple modular transverter, for 10 watts, so you can do 220 weak signal FM, and I'd eat that up. I'm eyeing stuff like that because I do VHF contests with my 705, and I would love to be able to do something like that. Just again, something small, modular, and add-on. Maybe it's not for everyone, but
yeah, well, it might boost the market too. I mean, if there was something available, that was out there, even in is there even an HT version of 220? I don't think we can get any more of those radios with 220 of them.
a lot of the Chinese ones,
VX600.
I have a BTEC tri-band, the BTEC, UV 5x3. I have that. I purchased an Alinco mono band at an auction back in November. I just used that in January in the contest. But you see like a handful of options from like Baofeng and some of the others for that, but nothing coming out of the States or Japan.
Yeah, I just want to bring this point out that Shane says he needs a HDMI out. Yeah. I say get a thicker pair of glasses, because the resolution output on that 7300 is not like 1080 by 1920. It's probably 800 by 600, so you're not going to get a whole lot out of it, except the fact that you got an HDMI connector. But all good. So all right, cool. So the big thing I saw a lot. I don't know if anybody caught so in New Hampshire. We have the VHQ Hex. You guys have obviously seen Jason and all the other guys throw videos out there and whatnot on that thing. He's a New Hampshireite by default, and great guy. I got the chance to meet him when we were at Ham Expo. But he had a new add-on for 40 meters, because everyone constantly keeps saying, why can't hex beams have 40? And we all know that if you throw, another band that's 40, that hex beam is going to be the size of like Montana, in terms of size. So I think he came out with like this universal dipole that I thought was kind of ingenious in terms of how he connects it to the tower and the mast. So I'm curious to see, if we're going to see more people want to buy that option or, kind of get into that. But that, that I thought for me, if I, because up here in New England, we all know the weather will kill a hex beam, no doubt. And so having a strong antenna is important in terms of, being able to have that. And so this new feature I thought was pretty cool that he added is basically just a dipole element with adjustable kind of whips on the end of it. So it was pretty cool. But any of you guys ever see anything, else in some of the videos that were out there?
Haven't been looking, honestly.
I don't think so.
Right.
No problem. All right. No problem. We'll just blow by Hamcation because, it's all in the past at this point. Yeah, we're right. Grayman Poda pointed out that Shane loves to drop 7,300. So, so far, I think there was one safe from the last activation they did for Winterfield Day. So we're all good there. Cool. Well, so what's kind of been going on? You guys have been doing any projects? I don't know if Matt wants to talk about it. He kind of talked offline about his new little purchase there. I can share in his joy, but maybe you want to pick that one up and we can talk a little bit about portable gear, since we all kind of do portable at some level.
Yeah, I was on QRZ earlier on my phone in between shoveling a foot of snow with a snowblower and the shovel, and found out that there was a FX4CR for sale. 3 people liked it. I'm like, I better email the guy. Snatched it up. He was selling it because he's moving, and grabbed it, and it's coming early next week. So I'm going to head out into the woods in the snow and start doing some parks on the air with that bad boy. I'm excited. 20 watts, small package.
That is awesome.
It's a great looking radio. I have a friend that has it, and I know you have it, Eric, and it's phenomenal, for what it is, a Chinese radio, but it has great support, and, the sound quality is phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, first question I have to you, he's packing or he's selling the radio because he has to move. Like if FX4CR is too big for him to worry about packing up, what else is he like? Where's he going that he can't bring something like that portable?
He said he needed to fund the move. Fund it.
There we go.
There's the money. Yeah. So I got it for a little under 5, so it was worth it.
Oh, that's pretty good. Because right straight from him, if he's actually selling them, he's it's right out the door. It's like $550. So.
I know, steel for unobtainium. I don't know when I forget what his call sign is going to get it out there for more of those, but
yeah,
I had to have it. Yep.
Yeah, he's. I think he's like on hold on production because he's got so many requests for him.
Yeah.
So that's a good deal. I would think that if people were selling them, they'd be selling them for more, since you can't even get them from the guy making them.
What it'd be like when the 818 was like disappearing, and all of a sudden everyone's like selling them for like $1,000.
Yeah, 1,000, 1,200 on QRZ. Forget it.
Yeah.
Well, the size of that thing, I haven't got to play with one, but someone brought one to a club meeting a few months ago, and I saw it, holding it in the hand. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know. And I think about with the travel I do, and I think Todd was talking about earlier about traveling for work. I travel for work, and I got my 705 in a bag with everything I need. And the FX4CR is it's so tiny, compared to the 705, and you got 20 watts, you got a built-in
and a waterfall,
and everything. I mean,
beautiful
that's
screen.
Perfect for I think about just for travel, whether it's by car, by plane, or something that's such a great travel radio.
Cargo pants radio.
Yeah, cargo pants radio.
If you were wearing your MC Hammer pants, then you have no problem slipping it in.
So what you're saying is, instead of saving my pennies for the 705, I should really just get the FX4.
Yep, Paul, yeah. I'm gonna do one step further. I'm gonna let you borrow mine and have it for a week, and I guarantee I will have to come over there and beat you to get it out of your hands after you're done, because it's such a great radio.
He's not giving that up.
Yeah, unless you really had a need for D-Star, or I like the all band all mode. I mentioned earlier, I do the VHF contests throughout the year and everything. I love going out. They got a single up portable category, which is the equivalent of a Poda or a Soda, and that's what I do when I do these things, and just go to one spot and play radio on the higher bands. And I like having that capability. I like it, whether it's for the contests or doing things like WinLink locally, stuff like that. But if you don't need VHF and you don't need VHF weak signal, then 20 watts is such a sweet spot for portable ops. Anyone, my first radio was a G90, and 20 watts, you can just kill it, whether you're using a hand stick or you're putting a wire in the tree. That's phenomenal. That's
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm with you 100%. The radio itself, I think for me, and I haven't explored it, it's not like it has a deep feature rich, interface. It's very simple and very clean for the FX4CR, but I love the fact that, I can take an Android phone, and I'm not a big Android user, but I have an Android phone that allows me to interface directly with Bluetooth and play FT8 off the thing. That is just like, coupled with Matt's Reliance antenna, the thing is literally no bigger than the size of maybe like a small little lunch bag or whatever. I mean, it's like you put all that together with a small little battery, and you just like, this is perfect, and I'm super excited to kind of use it more. I did a couple of videos on that and just playing around with it, but I thought heck, this radio is well worth the wait.
Yeah.
Well, when I was doing the park on Monday, I had several QRP stations, Midwest all the way to the West Coast, and I mean they were coming through fantastic, perfect signals. So yeah, I mean 20 watts does travel.
It goes. For the way the solar cycle is, those that run in QRP can definitely benefit from it. I think I know when the dark ages were way back when the people said that the bands were dead and we're never going to have RF ever again. QRPers were quite happy because people would grab them and be able to make a contact with them. But Poor Mike.
So I'm using my wife's webcam and setup. And
I was gonna say,
I have no idea why I'm purple. I joked in the green when I was like, it's my Irish tan. I already started drinking. It's like
it's the RF turning them purple.
Yeah.
Great bait.
The envelopes are not coming to get you. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's all good. But cool. So I'm curious, so we all kind of do portable a little bit different levels. What's kind of your go-to stuff in terms of either antennas or, I mean, obviously talk a little about radios, but like, from a POTA perspective, what's your go-to antenna? Do you have a favorite, or you just love them all and they're all like your favorite, and you can't pick a child over one or the other?
I have a basic setup that I use that works pretty well. Just a Yaesu FT891, 15 amp hour battery. And depending on if it's nice out or not, I'll use my end-fed half wave. And if it's not nice, like I actually did a POTA activation Friday, had the day off from work. I just use ham sticks on the car with a tuner.
Okay.
And that works for me. I don't get too fancy these days with anything. But that's me. And all that stuff, I can pack it on the motorcycle and take it on the motorcycle too.
Oh, very cool. Now, when you run ham sticks, you run in primarily just like 2040 or 2010, or just you have a favorite band you usually play in, or just whatever the time of day is?
So 2015 and 10, I like the best with ham sticks. I've had some success on 40 with them. But again, I use a tuner with them because even if I get them set here, before I go somewhere, by the time I get somewhere, even if they're just in the back of the car, I put them back on, they're out of tune already. So
yeah, everyone raise your hand. How many have tried to sit there and fanciful try to get a ham stick in at least 2 to 1 SWR ratio? It's a fight constantly all the time.
They work. They do the job. Like I said, Friday was a beautiful day. It was just super windy and cold, so I wasn't going to set up the end-fed half wave and sit outside. So I sat in the car for an hour and made some contacts on the ham sticks, and it was good. But what about you guys? What do you like?
I use the Buddy Stick Pro. I love that antenna. It's so awesome. It's very affordable, and it's always been a backup. Eric and I, when he first got his hex beam, we go out, we're all psyched. We set it all up for the first time, and then we found out that they sent the wrong antenna length. So it didn't work, and like we had been out for like an hour trying to put the thing together, and I'm like, I got the buddy pole. We set it up, activated the park. I use an 891, and I just shove it in a backpack and leave the backpack in my car. And if I find a second or I drive by a park, I'm like, I got an hour to kill. Let's see if I can activate. So that's what the reason I always joke about Yaesu and the 705 killer is the 891 is such an awesome radio. It's 100 watts. I've worked all over the world with it on POTA. It's, when you're out there doing parks, you guys know it's quiet. You don't get a lot of the noise that you get like maybe from in your shack. And it would just be nice if you could have a radio that had a better, like a menu. So I don't really use the menu that much. I mean, I have it set up kind of how I think it's going to be needed, like the noise blank or whatever, just in case. But, not having a waterfall, not be able to search for signals, that kind of stuff. It's, that's the only downfall for it. But that radio, it's been tried and true. I mean, I've taken it everywhere, and it passes, what do you call it, TSA, no problem. They don't care. I had one guy, I swear, I got stopped once, and the guy was a ham, and he decided to go through my whole pack. Like, I think he was just looking to see what I had just to check it out. I was like, dude, I got to get on a plane.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically what I use. I'm always into looking for new antennas and stuff. But I'll be honest with you, that Buddy Pole Pro, it always works, and it's always on tune. I mean, it's just little adjustments here and there, but I could switch from 10 to 20 to 15 in like no time, and it doesn't. It's not like it takes a long time to do it. So it's been cool because I've been able to activate multiple bands at a park, especially when if one band dies. Like I think when we did our east or the coastline, the Rove that Eric and I did, we were doing 10, 10, 10, and then 10 just died. And then like, oh, we'll just switch it to 20. And it was like you take out the little pin, you screw it in, you plug it in, and boom, we're banging out 20. So it was good.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Anybody else?
Well, I definitely got my favorites, but I would say out of all of the portable operations gear that I regularly use, the antennas are the one thing that has changed the most. I started with the Wolf River coil, which was fantastic, and then I got the Chameleon MPass 2.0, which that is also a great antenna system, very versatile, but both of those are kind of bulky, and so when I was looking to downsize, I started looking at all the end-fed half-wave options and considered whether or not I should build one or buy one, and all of the debate that goes into that. But I got to say, so I really, really enjoyed the Xtenna, but I sent it to a buddy that's deployed to Romania, so he should be getting that any day now. And I picked myself up a Reliance bug out and fed half wave, and I love the fact that like
shameless plug.
I didn't have to tune it. I don't ever have to mess with anything. Like I throw it up and I put the analyzer on it just to see, all right, like where am I at? Because it depending on where the feed point is, you tend to be either your perfect frequency is just under all the bands, but you're still good 2 to 1 throughout. Or if it's up a little higher, then your perfect frequency is a little higher in the band, but it's still 2 to 1 throughout. So I don't know. I can't say enough how much I really enjoy that antenna and the simplicity of it, and the fact that it works.
Well, and Matt, you made him a convert. He used to be a vertical guy all the time. Every time I go out with him, he'd be like, vertical this, vertical that, vertical blah, blah, blah. And it's like, wire antenna. I'm like, what happened? Paul has changed.
I'm glad to convert you, Paul. Glad to convert you.
Well, so how about you, Matt or Mike? What do you guys use for your usual setups?
Go, Mike.
Okay, so I think one of my all-time favorites, and I recommend this hands down for everyone because of the versatility, is the Wolf River Coils 213-inch whip. So that's the 17-foot telescoping whip. I mean, that's like my quick and dirty, because this time of year, like in the Northeast, like I'm activating from my car 9 times out of 10. And I mean, you can throw that on a mag mount. I have the Sporty 42. That coil for 40 meters, and I made a jumper. So if I want to easily switch between 20 and 40, it's just unplug it and good to go. But that's great, because I mean, I throw that on a mag mount. You can use the tripod. I've got one of those clamp mounts, and I've used it right on a picnic table. There's just a lot of flexibility. I don't have the spike, but those things are easy to make if you wanted to make something similar. There's just a lot of versatility depending on, when you're operating portable, you don't know what your options are going to be. Can you put a stake in the ground? Can you put a wire in the tree? Those are some of the things that we run into at the parks, and being able to put this on your car or just put it on a tripod in the field. There's a lot of versatility there. And if you don't have a tuner, like I have a 705 and a 7300, but if I'm out with the 705, I can easily tune that on all the bands from 20 down to 6 meters, without the need for a tuner, just by adjusting it. And at this point, I have it memorized because I use it so much. But then that's like this time of year when I'm doing it from the car. When the weather turns, like in a few months, and I'm outside, I really like putting wires up in a tree. Whether it's an end fed, random wire, off center fed, something like that. It just, just like my taste in beers, my taste in antennas changes with the seasons. So
I like that relationship. Yeah, and I had never bothered to really kind of make that connection. I'm probably doing it subliminally. So it's very cool. Well, how about you, Matt? What do you got?
Well, I pretty much, like I said, run the NFED halfway, but lately it's due to all the snow. I don't want to trudge through the woods. So what I do is I built a small compact off-center fed dipole and set that up, and pretty much it's been working great. I love it. Sent it to a guy to test out, and he got like 116 contacts in 45 minutes. I was really surprised and happy with that, with no tune. Guy in New York City got one. He's like, hey, how can I turn this into a 20-6? Because, not many places in New York City to set up without getting yelled at or potentially tossed in jail. So, but no, the Wolf River coils, I love it for parks that you can't throw things in trees, like Mike was saying, or you can't put stakes in the ground. Pop a tripod on there, get one of those Faraday claws, toss that on the ground, so you have that nice ground plane, and that works phenomenal. Yeah, you get weird looks from people like, what the hell are you setting up behind your car or out in the grass? But, when you got to do it, you got to do it, and you can't toss a wire in the tree. But I was down in Shenandoah National Park for Hamfest down there, Berryville, and they always said, oh, it's tough to get set up there because the park rangers are jerks. Well, I tossed it up there. Tons of kids running around, inverted L. No one saw it. Waved to the park ranger. They waved back and saw my little radio there on the park bench, and no issues, minus all the mosquitoes eating me alive. So a part of me still stuck down there in Virginia. So.
Well, I was at a park in Florida, and the guy's like, oh, what are you doing? I said, ham radio. He goes, can't throw any wires up in a tree. I'm like, oh, you've had a couple of us down here? I'm like, nah, I got a vertical. We're good to go.
Yeah, the verticals are I think, it's funny. Every antenna you kind of touched upon, I pretty much have, although I have a variation of the Wolf River coil that I got to do a video on. I keep forgetting to do it because I from a reference of somebody, I can't remember where I got it, but ultimately I started with the Wolf River coil platinum. It was the platinum. Yeah. And so it was a great antenna, great big, the 24-inch base, the long extension, whip, so forth and so on. And I had, short and ground radials or varying degrees. From a suggestion, someone said, hey, maybe you should go for an elevated coil. So I bought the 2 extension rods. And I can't tell you, I'm never going back to the lower coil, lower loaded base coil. Even when the bands are terrible, that antenna has, once you get that coil elevated, all of a sudden things become so much brighter, so much clearer. 5.3s, 5.2s are now like 5.7s, 5.8s, and consistently. And I'm being heard, and I could play with wattage all the time and still, not see much of a major, swing and, coverage and whatnot in terms of what I kind of, peripheral looked at in terms of my spread when I make contacts. But I love that antenna. The Wolf River coil is definitely always my go-to if I remember to bring it. My problem is I've got it in a separate bag, and I can't tell you, I just did another activation down in the Cape on the way home. And of course I got out of my truck and I'm like, oh, I'm ready to go. Oh, no Wolf River coil. And so I as a backup, and as Mike said, when in wintertime, you don't want to activate outside. So I've got a ATAS 120 on the truck, and that is always my go-to. I just basically take that out of the back of the truck there, screwed on, and it does pretty good. I mean, that ATAS is a very compromised sort of antenna, but it works great with that 891. Also, it presses the tune button on whatever band I want, and I get everything from I think it doesn't do 80. It does 40 all the way down to 6, and even 2 and 440. Not that I'd ever use that, but yeah, that's always been my lifesaver every time, I stupidly forget to bring my Wolfer recoil. And so, from that, those antennas just are blast. And my beach bag, I usually, as Paul said, Reliance bug out antenna, that's my go-to antenna for my beach bag. So,
Yeah.
I'm super excited.
Remember, Eric, when we were doing the Rove on the coast, we were using my my antenna, and we were setting it up different ways each time, like unconsciously just screwing the pieces, because we were like trying to do it up as fast as we could. So I would sometimes put the coil first, then then the staff, then I'd put it like two high, one high, and we found it didn't really matter on that antenna,
Yeah.
did it?
No,
We
that
didn't have
antenna
any.
didn't get affected much by the elevation of where the coil sat. So, but it was still damn good antenna. I mean, we were, crazy for us to last that long on 10. We started at 8:00 and went to like 2 p.m. on 10 meters. That's like unheard of. I don't know about you.
And we had a direct 5.9 to Europe. Like most of the contacts we worked that day were from Europe. We had a guy he's from Italy or Spain that was following us from park to park.
Yeah, Echo Alpha. Was it Echo Alpha 1 Lima Tango Lima? You probably have heard him quite often. He's a big hunter. So
but he was following us from each park, and like we'd get, as soon as we tried to stay on the same frequency, so we'd have to go change a little bit if someone picked it up, but for the most part it was pretty fun. So that was probably my favorite POTA activation. It was a day that was supposed to be, what was it, like 80 degrees, and it was like, when did we do that, in October, November?
Yeah, that was the one time that it was like 80, like you said, it was 80 degrees in the middle of October, and it was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah,
this is New England.
It was people are just jumping in the ocean. Like, what are these people nuts? But it was a good time.
So let's shift gears here. I mean, because we got a little bit of time. We want to kind of stick to the, that we're getting come on the hour here. But, just to give a little guys that just joined in, I did notice that Alpha 0Z was in there and a few others. So welcome for joining. The other things is that, we're going to kind of be doing this once a month for a little while, just to give you a little background. So always check our usual channels. So if you subscribe to any one of us here, we're going to be hopefully adding to the ranks and bringing more guys and gals in and just having some fun once a month, kind of just chit-chatting about ham radio. And hopefully as New England starts to get more greener, we'll be doing more things outdoors, and hopefully doing some meetups, and we'll see where it goes. But outside of that, I kind of want to switch gears, because I don't ever hear on a lot of our YouTube channels from people, either in their chat hours, what was your worst activation? Like, we all have done activations, but what's the worst one? Obviously I mentioned, like, me always forgetting my Wolfer recoil, but like, what one is like it goes down in the books like for you? You got one of those stories to tell? Todd's got his hand up, so go ahead.
All right, so I drove all the way to Vermont, all excited, gonna activate Vermont for the first time, get a new state, another New England state, get it out of the way. I get there, I set everything up, no coax. I left the coax at home, and I had taken it, I put it out in the garage, was gonna go pick it up, rushing around, getting everything in, and that's when I said, that's it. I'm building. That's how I got my go bag, because I said I'm never leaving anything behind. So everything stays packed. When I get home, it's all packed in. It's all ready to go. That way, if I decide to go, I'm not forgetting anything. So I had to go back a couple weeks later, but it's a good long drive to find out that there was I wasn't going to be doing anything except driving home. Is
that a good long drive to, or good long drive back in terms of your pain?
Good long drive to, and a terrible ride back. Yeah, I was not happy.
And that's why I always carry a spare.
Yeah, and again, I'm in Vermont. Like, I'm thinking, like, hey, where could I get coax from? But like, there's nothing out there. It's just
Hey, it's right down to Best Buy. Yeah,
like, I don't even know if they have cable TV out there. Like, they may not even use coax in Vermont.
Yeah, I had something similar happen just this fall when Kyle and Jason were out here. I kind of ran out at the last minute to meet them up, and like you said, I have sort of a, I guess you could call it a go bag with all my POTA stuff in it. And so I grabbed everything and I went out and met them at the park, and I got there before they did. I got my antenna set up. I was getting my radio set up. I had everything except the power cord for my radio. I had some other wire.
That's the worst.
I had another piece of wire in there, Well, luckily, Izzo, when he came with the guys, he had a tool, and I was able to strip the wire and shove it in the terminals, and I was able to get on the air. But yeah, it's important to keep all that stuff together, and it usually is. But I had the power cord out when I was charging the battery, and I forgot to put it with the battery when I put it back in. So, some people have a checklist, and that's probably a good thing to have, but I know I'd never.
It's all up here, Rob. It's all up here, right?
Yeah, if I had one, I'd never look at it. But some people, they swear by that.
Or I'd lose it. My checklist would be lost.
Yeah, that too.
Cool. Anybody else got any sad stories they'd like to share? Mike, you can't be perfect the whole entire time.
No. Early on, and this is a lesson for those starting out. My first station that I put together, I got the Zygo G90, and I got that instead of the 891 just to save money and put it into coax and antennas. That was my rationale, right? And so I had the G90, I had some ABR coax and the Wolf River coils. And I don't come from a ham family. I don't have any hand-me-downs. I didn't have a soldering station. I was starting from scratch. So I got my Bioenno battery, the G90, the ABR, the Wolf River, and going out to activate. I've already activated a few times, but this was just a few months in. And I hiked in, my wife and I, this was like in the Finger Lakes National Forest, a gorgeous spot on Seneca Lake. But you got to hike in, or I should say hike down, and it's a very steep decline to get down there. A good 20 plus minutes. And I got all the gear in my backpack. I get down there, and she's all set up to read. I can't get anything working. The SWR is off the charts. I'm not hearing anything but static. I set the antenna up in a couple different spots. I tried switching around the coax, right? I'm trying anything I can to get, it's
save
just
the
not
activation,
working.
right? Yep.
And we were down in the Finger Lakes for just a little getaway weekend, hitting up wineries, breweries, and all these things like that. And I was really excited to do this spot, but it didn't work out. I went back home, felt all defeated being a new ham. And I set it up in the backyard, and the damn thing works. And I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Oh, that's the worst.
But then I'm out for an activation like a week or two later. And fortunately, I had enough contacts. But then all of a sudden, it's dying out. And it's like, I'm touching the coax or where it's going into the G90, and it's hit or miss. And I remember holding it to kind of make a contact. I'm like, all right, I'm done. Something.
Oh my!
And
just use yourself as the antenna.
So radiodity. I did some research, and I saw quite a few complaints about some cold soldering joints and some stuff with the SO239 on the back of the G90. And I emailed radiodity. It was within the first year, and within a week or two, I had a new radio. And I didn't have any issues. But, here's a lesson for some of the new hams, I'd say, is one of the things which is dirt cheap that I didn't really know or understand at the time that I could have done to at least try to narrow things down was if I had a multimeter, I could have done a continuity test on my coax. The other thing is I only had one piece of coax at the time as a new ham. You can't have multiples of everything. I get it. Redundancy is good. But you're not going to go out into the field with multiple radios and everything else. But something like coax, it's helpful to have, a longer run, a shorter run, things like that. And being a new ham, I just didn't know. I got what I could get in my budget to get started. But had I had a multimeter, I could have narrowed things down a little bit better. That's, like $10-20, easy fix right there. And then it wouldn't have been much to have another piece of coax to try before, just to swap in and out. So, those are my lessons, and I have a lot of coax now, and lesson learned. And I
have a bag full of coax that I bring with me every activation.
It's always an opportunity to learn when you're portable. That's what I like to say. So,
Cool. Well,
I
hey, before we jump in, I gotta say, Shane,
Way to go.
we're gonna give you a way to go there, buddy. Thank you for picking up an antenna for Reliance. I just want to give a little, out there for Matt. So good deal on that. But anyway, so go ahead. Sorry. So who was it? Todd? I couldn't remember who was chiming in.
No, I was just gonna say, at least I'm not. I felt like I was the only idiot that forgot coax or had a problem, and it seems like it's part of the initiation of being a POTA activator. Is you're gonna screw something. You're gonna forget something at some point.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Well, how about you, Matt, Paul? I assume you guys both can't come out unscathed.
Well, go ahead, Paul.
Well, all right. Well, so I don't understand how you guys can show up for an activation and not have the things you need.
Wow!
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 Now, Mr. Eagle Scout over here.
Hear me out, okay? Once a Marine, always a Marine. But
we're gonna go there.
We might be dumb and we eat crayons, but we're always prepared. And so I like to live by that motto. I don't have as many activations under my belt as you guys, but I've definitely I've gone up to Maine a bunch of times and just grabbed shit and thrown it in the truck. Going down to Florida, I've just grabbed shit, thrown it in the truck. But I always have extras. There's extra coax, there's extra connectors, there's a couple of different variations of antennas, because you never know, and I'll leave it all in my truck and I'll just grab the small bag, but at least I'm not going home.
Yeah, I can contest. When we had field day last year, I needed some parts and things, and Paul's the guy you go to, and he has everything. So yeah he's always prepared. I'll give him that. My New Year's resolution is I want to be more like Paul. I want to be prepared. That's my goal.
It's WWP. I don't care what would Paul do.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. All right. Well, Matt, we can't leave you out there. What's your tuck tail and run story?
I'm not sure if this happened to you guys, but last year for Winter Field Day was day 2. No one else wanted to go to the park and do a POTA/Winter Field Day. So I got my buddy, good former dentist friend of mine, and he was running behind. So I was like, I'll be the hero. I'll set up this, 133 foot, 80 to 10 meter end fed half wave, and hiked in. I like hiking. I don't like doing car activation. So I hike in on a trail, state game lands in Pennsylvania, and I found this great tree that looked beautiful. I got the weighted bag on there, little Weaver bag, got the mass straight line on there. So excited. I went to spin it, toss it. Shit, I forgot to plug in that other end onto something, and it flew straight into thorn bushes. So I spent literally 30 to 45 minutes digging, looking for that bright yellow, weighted bag. Right. And I'm like, how can I not find this? And my jacket's getting torn. And I did not tell anyone that, and didn't even tell my buddy that was coming what happened and how long I was looking for that. But found it, got most of it up and running by the time he got there, and it was a great day. We had like 143 contacts using the ASU 891, and talked to, I think, 3 guys from Belgium on 10 meters that morning. It was fantastic, but I think I still have thorns in that jacket, though. Did you guys ever do that? Throw the bag and forget to tie the other line? Now I tie it to the belt loop of my pants, so...
No, but I'm reminded of a story, and Shane's here in the chat. I'm reminded of an antenna that's, I don't know if it's still currently up in a tree. I remember hearing a story somewhere on there. Shane, maybe you can confirm that, or what the deal is. But yeah, I heard that there was going to be a extrication of a said wire antenna, but I don't know what the status. That was about a year ago, so we'll see. But I guess from my short story, my story is kind of what we'll call a game of inches. I think I fall in the same bucket as you guys with coax. I learned very early on in the initiation process that if you don't bring the right amount of coax and a 1+ more, you're always doomed yourself. So I had a problem where I had my woofer recoil. I just bought it, kind of played around with it a little bit, went out, did the activation. Thought I had everything in the kit, and the coax I had got nicked. And at that point, the outside of the braid was already toast from what, I don't know whether it was the zipper in the bag or something, had you basically, serrated the edge. And all I had was a 3 or maybe like a 1 foot long jumper of PL259. And I was scared because at that point, that was my first activation or one of my first activations. And I didn't know whether or not I was going to be okay to be close enough to have my radio. My radio was literally like 1 foot away from the base of my Wolf River coil. And I'm sitting on the ground, kind of operating like down in an angle, all like hunched over and, connecting straight the antenna with 1 foot of coax because that's all I had in my bag. And I was just like, how did, at that point I was like, okay, every time before I go out the night before, we're going to run through the mental check. We're going to run through the physical, okay, I got this in the bag. I got this in the bag. We're all good. And like Rob said, it's like, making sure my checklist is all good, before I go and head out, either down the street or, over, halfway across the state or whatever. So yeah, it's kind of, it's an initiation process, guys. I think we've all kind of been through it for sure.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, hey, I don't want to, obviously we want to kind of wrap up here a little bit. So, we, if those that all have joined, we got 32 in the chat. At one time, I think we had high at 34. So I appreciate all you guys joining in and being part of this process. It's been a blast so far, and we're going to definitely be doing more. So thanks for being part of this. And, what I wanted to do is kind of, let's just go around real quick. Let us know your channel and where people can find you more, and we'll make sure we get those links in the chat again for folks. And so if you haven't subscribed to these guys, go ahead and head over there and click subscribe on their sites and give them a little love. And we will be posting more next month because we'll figure out who's going to be running that as the host. And we're just going to have some fun and see where this kind of goes, and like I said, promote more of the New England ham radio community. So with that, Rob, where can people find more about you and what's been going on?
You can head over to YouTube and look for 741, I guess, or my call sign, N1NUG. If you're into that sort of thing, feel free. Other than that, not a whole lot going on here at the moment, other than I'm working on trying to get my VE. Just never got around to doing that, so that's in process now. So hopefully I can help out with some testing in the spring.
Awesome. All right. Well, nice. Cool with that. All right. So Paul, where can they find more about you? And, quickly, kind of what's the latest thing going on your channel or whatever you kind of want to let people know about?
So at KF4TPY on the YouTubes, if you're brave, I'm also on Twitter where I share all the random thoughts that come into my mind. So be warned. I'm just finishing up with getting remote access to my radio for deployed troops. It's a project that I've been working on with the Flag and Torch Society. Really, really proud of the fact that like the guy that kind of came up with this particular setup, it took him 3 years to perfect it. It took me about a week. So I'm proud of myself. Now it's just the documentation of it and getting it into a PowerPoint, so it's easy to have somebody else set it up. But
very cool.
That's what I got going, and that's what I've been working on. Awesome.
All right. Well, how about you, Mike? Go ahead.
Yeah, no. I got a new video coming out on Tuesday. And Scout was in the chat. I kind of started piggybacking off of him when I got into YouTube about a year ago. We started this thing, Tuesday Night Ham Radio, just a playlist of premieres that lead up to Ham Radio Clubhouse Tuesday night, since that's kind of our jam. And so I got a new video already uploaded, just waiting to set the premiere time. It'll drop sometime before Clubhouse on Tuesday. We'll have another good full packed playlist with a whole bunch of things from POTA to GMRS. So usually I'm trying to drop videos on Tuesdays for that. I travel a lot for work in the first quarter, so it's kind of it's been slow moving and it's been tough to find the time to get out. But I'm still trying to put out a new video every week, whether it's Tuesday or something else. So.
Very cool. Yep. Well, if you get a chance to post that in that actual playlist in the comments there, Mike, it'd be great to share it with folks if they haven't already been a part of that. All right, cool. Well, hey, over to you, Matt. What's been going on? What's your channel? What's been going on with you? And what's the latest stuff?
Well, I got to get a new video out there. It's been about 35 days. Been busy getting ready
That's
for
my last
Hamfest,
confession.
building.
Yep.
Oh yeah, building tons of antennas and testing out a new wire that looks like the soda beam's yellow. So
Ooh.
testing it out. It's lightweight. It's the same or slightly less diameter than Poly Stealth, but it feels fantastic and it slides right through the branches. I love it. But also shipped out an antenna to Pakistan. No, not a trader, guys. They have a Jeep rally. They're starting Monday at the Cholistan Desert, and they're going to be using one of my antennas in the field. And they're doing their first year of doing HF there. They usually do UHF, VHF. So I said, hey, Assad, send me some pictures of this antenna out there. I'm really happy to see it. So that's what I've been doing. Just getting ready for Hamfest. Can't wait to go up there to NearFest to see you guys. Maybe we'll do an activation together, possibly a live stream one. That would be awesome. And other than that, that's pretty much it, guys.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk on NearFest. They ended up shifting that schedule. I don't know. You got the update. I was so mad. It's like Thursday, Friday, which is like, ugh. I mean, I work. I don't know about you.
I know. Only the hardcore hams will come to that.
True, or the retired ones. Whatever works.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll definitely have to talk more on that. So cool. All right. Well, good to hear on that antenna. Keep us posted on some of your designs there, and we're looking forward to what you got going forward on the channel. So. Cool. All right. Well, over to Todd there. I mean, go ahead. What's been going on with you, and where can people find out more about you?
You can find me at w1stj.com. So website work in progress. I'm also going to be starting a YouTube channel. Been working on my Go box. Started last week putting the DX10, Yaesu DX10 into a box. It's going to have a speaker, a tuner, and what else is it going to have in it? I don't know, a couple of this stuff, but it's going to be portable. It's going to be used for, I'm going to be using it for POTA, basically not like the carrying out and walking in, but like the parking lot POTAs, I guess I would call it, and also field day and that kind of stuff. So I'm pretty fortunate and lucky to have that radio as a mobile kind of radio since I got the Flex radio. So that was planning on being my full-time shack radio, but now it's being used for another thing. So I'm pretty excited about that. That's about it. Cool. And also Live Free and Ham. It's our bi-weekly podcast, and seems to be going good, and we're enjoying doing that for everyone.
Very cool. Well, yeah, I add to the Live Free and Ham. We just had George K6 SVU from Ham Radio Workbench on to talk about the Adventure Radio Protocol, which was a blast. We are super excited to kind of get that more integrated in kind of the stuff that we're doing. So you'll probably be hearing more. And, as always, we always release an episode on that every 2 weeks. So if you haven't, you can always head over to livefreeandham.com and check that out. And would love to your support. And, definitely love to hear from you. And so for me, like I said, my channel is N1JR Amateur Radio. And I got a couple of videos that I just released. One on a CTE STEM event that we were pretty happy to be part of with our club. And as always, I've got great, videos up there on the Reliance antenna with Matt. That was a big hit, as well as a few other activities. And I've got a video that I'm going to probably be releasing probably soon on Ham Shack Hotline. That I had, I'd say my website's blown up in terms of folks, wanting more info on Ham Shack Hotline out of all the things, So I figured, okay, at this time, I might as well put a video together and let folks know more about how voice over IP can be helpful in the ham world. So outside of that, cool. Well, I appreciate all you guys coming on. It was a blast hanging out for our happy hour. So I thank you guys again for being there, and all you guys that are definitely on the chat. I am totally blessed and super psyched to see that we had 34 people on for our first show. So there'll be more going on in the future. So stay tuned to all of our channels, because we'll be, putting out notices and updates on things that we're doing as the Northeast Ham Radio group of guys. So with that, I'd like to say, like I said, thank you, and 7-3 to all.
7-3,
7-3, everyone.
7-3.
7-3.